Call this meeting of the Atwater City Council to order February 28, 2022 at 6 p.m. We'll do the Pledge of Allegiance tonight by Corey Billings and invocation by Pastor Miller. Please remain standing for the invocation.
Let's pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we come to you in prayer this evening and ask for your blessing upon this meeting. Father, we do thank you for all that you have done for us, especially here in the city of Atwater. And Father, we do ask for you to continue to give direction, continue to give wisdom, as we always ask for that from you. Father, we do pray for all that's going on in our world this evening. Father, we pray for those in the Ukraine this evening that are struggling and fighting. And Father, we pray that you would help them in a mighty way, and Father, give them courage. And Lord, we just pray that you would help us here in the United States of America to just be thankful this evening for the liberties that we have that have been paid for by the blood of men and women over the years. And Father, we pray that you be with our U.S. military tonight. We pray that you'd be with our law enforcement, our firefighters as well. Thank you for their service. And Father, once again, we just invoke your blessing upon this meeting. In Christ's name we ask it. Amen.
Roll call.
Ambrose.
Here.
Button.
Here.
Kale.
Here.
Raymond.
Here.
Creighton.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Subsequent need items.
Mayor, there are none.
Approval agenda as posted or amended.
I'll motion to approve the agenda.
I'll second.
Motion by Ambrose, second by Raymond.
Raymond.
Yes.
Ambrose.
Yes.
Button.
Yes.
Kale.
Yes.
Creighton.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Ceremonial matters. So we have 3 ceremonial matters tonight. We're going to do one at a time. First one's going to be certificate of recognition to Miss Chi Wood. So council, if you don't mind joining me down here at the stage area, I guess. What do you want to call it, Tyler? That sounds good. Yeah. And then we'll do, Pastor Miller will take it from there and do the other 2 awards. So we're going to come down and join you. Can you guys hear me? Okay. So tonight we are recognizing Chi Wood for her contributions towards the City of Atwater's downtown lighting project. It's a lot bigger than that. This is a certificate. What happened, folks, was, council, you guys come over here so we can all be in the center. Flank each side over here. Danny, you come up next to Chi. Miss Karen, you mind coming over here next to Chi? Right here. The council, we have some flowers and balloons for you tonight. So Chi Wood asked me at Granny's Pantry one day over breakfast, hey, you know what? We really need some lights down on Main Street. And I said, really? You think so? I've been trying to do that for a while. Why don't you go down and talk to a couple of businesses and make something happen? Well, like 2 days later, 10 o'clock in the morning, she's like, I need to talk to you. I said, uh-oh. So I go downtown, and her and Roger had already talked to several businesses, rallied up a bunch of money. She got a bunch of cash from me, and they had gone to Costco and picked up all the lights to do the project. They said, now, Mayor, get the city to get the bucket truck over here and start making this stuff happen. I said, well, we need some paperwork done. She said, well, I already met with Lori, the city manager. Paperwork's done. Everybody signed off on it, and here's your paper to sign. So Chi-Chi Wood, with her own tenacity and her own dedication, saw something that needed to be done in this community and took it upon herself, which she's always done that. But this was a big effort, and it motivated a lot of people in town. A lot of community organization spun off of this because it turned out so beautiful. And then we had the skating rink with the Old Town Atwater and so many beautiful things. And windows got covered downtown. You know, we had probably the greatest Christmas parade turnout we've ever had, and it was wonderful. And people are still talking about it today. And I know how much work you guys did. And I know you don't ever get enough credit, and you work your tail off in this community, and you give, and you give, and you give, and you give. So this council wanted to recognize you tonight and just tell you thank you. So I'm going to let the council say a few words, and you can close it out.
I will tell you this. Chi-Chi Wood, you are small in stature, but tenacious. I would always want you on my side. You did a great job, whatever you do, and we appreciate everything that you have done for the city. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. You know, some of the character, that you see in the downtown, it's from people like you and the legacy that you leave. So thank you.
You're making us look bad. Thank you very much for everything that you're doing. The lights looked wonderful. You know, it's amazing when my 13-year-old goes up, went down there this past holiday and was just like, wow, look how beautiful it actually looks. So thank you very much for that.
Why don't you say a few words? I'll hold that for you if you want.
a few words.
Yeah, where's Brian? Brian, you out there? Can you hear us?
Switch something over.
There's a mouse in the house?
I have my glasses on. I can't see it. I don't have my glasses on.
The cloud.
It's not muted.
Just,
Okay, is that yes or no, Lori? Okay, did you want to say anything, Brian?
You may not be able to hear you because you're not speaking into.
You know, I just know Chi-Chi does a lot for the community, for the city, and for the schools, and it's great that she's finally being recognized. You do a great job, and we appreciate everything you do.
thank you. Well, this didn't just happen overnight. Well, I did have an idea, and I thought, well, it can't be that hard. And it really wasn't that hard. My first contact was Lori, and Lori said, you have the city's cooperation and you'll get anything done. And then my second contact was my husband, Roger, who I said, you're probably going to have to do this project. And he found his friend Casey Steed, who helped on the whole installation of it as well. And then I have to give a big thank you to your Public Works Department. Yeah, Justin and Jeff and Leroy and Kenny, they never said no. They said, whatever you need, we'll get it done. And they were up there on the lift trucks, and before you know it, we had lights going across Broadway. I have to thank Brad Kessler and Old Town Atwater. They were instrumental in helping us with this whole project as well. And all the business owners. I walked up and down the streets. I didn't have one business owner say, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to participate. They all said yes. They signed the paper. I had a couple of them say, well, we never decorate for Christmas, but this year they did, and their windows were beautiful. We had one business owner that didn't have time to actually do his window because he was a little short-staffed, so I called my friend Corey Billings, and Corey and I put up his Christmas tree and his lights, and it made it look beautiful. And the whole streets looked beautiful with all the lights. I was so pleased that all the business owners jumped on board, and I can't thank the city of Atwater enough.
Yes. Well, congratulations. So on behalf of the Atwater City Council, I'd like to present you with some flowers and balloons that Miss Creighton picked out on behalf of all of us. And that's a small token of our appreciation for what you've done. And Roger and Chi-Chi and Brad and everybody that stepped up, awesome. And you did a great job decorating some of those windows downtown. I saw you that Sunday. You were down at the Needle Nook, or your friend? Yes, at the Needle Nook, yes. That turned out beautiful. And just wonderful. I absolutely love what happened this year, what's going on, the direction we're going, community involvement. Government get out of the way, and this kind of stuff happens, and this is just so awesome. Thank you, council, for your support and ideas and your vision and your direction we're going, and especially everybody in the city of Atwater and Merced and whoever's calling in right now. Sorry. And then also, I did want to mention to Casey Steed, I did go out and check on these guys after Christmas was over. Roger mentioned, well, I got to go down to the flower shop. We're putting lights up. I said, what are you doing? Well, Cheech wants to have the city outline of the rest of the buildings that don't have a connection that goes across the street. Okay, so I drove down later and climbed up the stairs and hopped over the roof, and there's Roger and Casey Steed up there and wired it all together, LED lights, and Casey came up with this really cool channel idea that keeps the rain and it keeps the sun off of the LED lights so they don't fade or yellow out, right, Roger? And it goes all the way across the city line on the south side of town, all the way to Witten Way, and hopefully one day we'll get over to the school district side and we'll get that done. But it looks absolutely beautiful, and what class you've added to this city. So thank you again. Can you come up here, Roger, so we get pictures of you two?
We're in a process of doing Bears Hall right now.
Okay.
So it should be done maybe by hamburger.
Janelle? Okay, perfect.
Mayor?
And then you hold the certificate. Here you go, Cheech. Council, move in closer. Karen, where'd you go? Miss Karen, get up here. Okay, all right. Janelle, you got it? Janelle is everything. Thank you. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you very much. Oh, also, wait, we have one more. Councilman Ambrose has a lithograph we had framed of, it's a lithograph of the city of Atwater. Let me show it to everybody here. So this is absolutely beautiful. My brother's a artist, and I know how hard it is to do lithographs, but if you could see this, this is Castle, downtown, the Bloss Mansion, City Hall, and Bloss Library. So we have all of our historical landmarks here. Absolutely gorgeous, first class, state of the art. Thank you very much, and you deserve that. Thank you. So up next tonight, we have Pastor Miller. I'm just going to get out of the way because this is his deal, and I'm going to step aside and let you take over.
All right, appreciate it. So Miss Janelle is going to put up a presentation here, just a quick PowerPoint presentation. You guys can stay here if you want, or you can sit down. I will have to call you back up in just a little bit, so it's totally up to you. Okay, then let's just stay up here. So for anyone who might not know, there was an event last December. It was called Christmas in Atwater. It was from December 17th through the 19th, and it was held on the property of the Bloss Mansion here in Atwater. And to be honest with you, it was something that started really back in August of last year or July of last year. We were out doing Bible clubs in the park, and Lord just impressed upon the hearts of our people and our church and myself to try to reach out to our community around Christmas. And, you know, with everything that took place over the last couple of years, we just wanted to be an encouragement any way we could. And it was an event that was really a community event. It started maybe in our minds and hearts in our church, but it branched out, and we had business owners, and we had other churches, and we had residents of the city of Atwater that got involved. And if you did not get an opportunity to experience it, when you came onto the property there at Bloss Mansion, you were greeted, and then as you went around, you were able to experience 3 different areas. We had an area dedicated to family. We had a little snowball fight area with fake snowballs. You could get yourself hot apple cider, hot chocolate. And then on the back side, we had an antique fire truck that was out there thanks to the fire department. We had trees that were decorated. We had a city tree that was on the back side. That was all our community area. And then as you came around to the front again, we had an area dedicated to faith. We had a living nativity scene. And then we also had a live Christmas program that was going on. And then we also had the Bloss Mansion was open all 3 nights. And so with all that being said, there's so many people that we could thank. I would like to say thank you to the Atwater Historical Society for opening the Bloss Mansion all 3 nights. They told me in a follow-up meeting that they believe they had more people walk through that property or through that house in those 3 nights than they have in the last 5 to 10 years. And so we really don't know how many people came out. We know it was several hundred, maybe possibly over 1,000. But we were just excited to see the community involvement, and we expect it to grow from there. Also, G&G Construction was so gracious at the last minute to provide some lighting for us. BK Welding, or Brad Kessler, was great about helping us with some of the things that were put out as well. And then, as I said, there were churches and other businesses and residents who got involved. And so we had 3 competitions over the course of those 3 nights that people, as they went around the property, they could vote on. So we had a QR code on a little bulletin that every family received when they came onto the property, and they could scan that QR code with their phone, and then they could vote. And so our 3 competitions, first off, we had a competition for Christmas tree decorating for the city departments. And we had 5 departments that put Christmas trees out. They decorated them. And then the people were able to vote on those. And then as they went around to the back, we had 5 paper mache snowmen that were made by one of the ladies in our church, or a couple of the ladies in our church. And we had residents who decorated those, and people were able to vote on those. And then on the back side of the property, there were 9 trees that were decorated by the public schools here in Atwater, the elementary schools and the Head Start program for Merced County. And so people were able to vote on those. So tonight what we're here to do is to go ahead and hand out some trophies. So I'm going to start with the smallest one, if that's okay. Now, just because it's the smallest doesn't mean that it's the least important. But let's see here. Esther, come on up here. So for the snowmen, we had the following residents who participated in that. In alphabetical order, we had Miss Chi Wood. She did the Hawaiian snowman for us. David Raymond did the wrestling snowman. Caitlin Holsey did the soccer snowman. Paul Creighton did the traditional, that's what I guess I'd call it, traditional snowman. And then Tyler Button did the golfing snowman. And that's because you like golf, right? Yeah. Okay. All right. And some people said that Mr. Button and the snowman looked very similar in height and things. I don't agree with that myself. But with all that being said, people got to vote. And the winner with 45% of the vote was our mayor, Paul Creighton. So we have a trophy for him, all right? Now, the reason why his trophy is the smallest is because he actually gets to keep his. The other 2 trophies are going to get passed around every year because we plan on having Christmas in Atwater again this December, and we plan on it being bigger and better and giving the opportunity to the public to, again, vote on Christmas trees decorated by the city departments and by our public schools. So you actually get to keep yours. The other ones have to share theirs. Do you want to say something as an acceptance?
I do. If Miss Karen Creighton could come up here, please, and help me receive this award, because I would be completely amiss if I took 100% credit, because she knows how to shop at Hobby Lobby. Okay? So I'm the big 30,000 foot guy, but she did a great job, and together we did it because we love this community, and we had absolutely ball. Your mother-in-law worked her tail off when I went by their house when you took me over there. Those are paper crochet with chicken wire. She did every single one of these by hand, built them, put them on the pallet. You guys brought them down to the new city hall, and then we got to decorate them in the back room. But without you doing what you did, it's amazing. It was just absolutely beautiful, and what a blast. It was great. Thank you very much.
Thanks, appreciate it, yeah. Do appreciate Mrs. Davis, Mrs. G, and I think Ms. Eagles helped with that as well. So appreciate all 3 of those ladies. And I still have one of the pictures that showed, or was shown just a minute ago, with you and your wife and the snowman in the background. That was the night that you all decorated, right? And I pulled that text up today, and it said an hour and a half still before the deadline. So you guys were able to get over there and decorate in time. And that was a late night that night, too, I believe, that you all decorated. But yeah, so thank you. That's right, because there was the party at the skating rink. So a lot going on in the city of Atwater. All right, so then we had our public schools. And our public schools, I'm not sure, do we have a representative from, okay, come on up. Are you Mrs. McCabe? All right, come on up. I haven't had the opportunity to meet you. So we had our public schools. As I said, there were 8 Atwater Elementary School District schools that were represented, and then we had the Merced Head Start as well. And so the people came through once again, voted on all the trees. The principals did a great job. This one was a little bit closer. I should say a lot closer. It was actually separated by 2 percentage points. So in third place was Thomas Alita with 11% of the vote, and then Elmer Wood got 19% at second place, and then in first place with 21% was Schaefer School. So, Timothy, come on up here. All right. And we want to present that trophy to you, and you get to display it at your school or in your office, wherever you want. And then next year, we will put a little placard or whatnot on the side. Sorry, my mind went blank for a second. And we'll put the year and your school, and hopefully you won't have to pass it off to anyone. Hopefully next year you get to come back and pass it back to yourself, right? Okay. Did you want to say anything about being able to participate or no?
I love this community for so many reasons, so thank you guys for supporting this activity. Heard nothing but wonderful things and looking forward to it next year.
Thank you. Appreciate it. All right. So that was Schaefer School that won that. And then I think one of my favorite competitions was the one between the different city departments. And so this one, there was one department that ran away with it. So once again, there were 5 departments: finance department, administration department, recreation department, police department, and fire department. And so the department that won with 67%, overwhelmingly won, was the fire department. And so I'm going to ask Chief Ayuso to come up here, and he's got some of his men with him. What I loved about their tree, if you did not get to see it, well, you know what? Why don't you talk about your tree? You don't want to talk about it? No? I don't know if Chief Salvador saw it or not. Chief, did you get a chance?
I see Bobby's kind of hesitating because there's a police officer there and there's a police officer there, so fire's kind of being modest, but...
Well, they know how to break down ceilings so we can escape through the roof, right? But no, in all seriousness, it was just a lot of fun seeing all of them get out there and decorate their trees and whatnot. But I think what won it for the fire department was everybody had to use an elf somewhere on their Christmas tree. And the fire department, they had an elf going up a ladder, I believe on a ladder truck, right? And going up a ladder towards the tree. But then down below, there was an overturned police car. And they were lowering down a second elf, I think, to help the police officer. And I think the thing that made most people laugh was there was a little box of Fruit Loops that had spilled over that looked like donuts that had fallen out of the police car. And so it's all in good fun, right? So Chief, he's thinking he's got 10 months to figure something out. They actually had a good one with an elf on a motorcycle being chased by a police car. So anyhow, with all that being said, 67%. Jonathan, come on up here. Why don't you give that to Chief Ayuso? All right, and let's give them a round of applause, the fire department, for winning that. Same thing, you guys get to display that somewhere, and next year we'll put on there Fire Department 2021. If you win it again this year, then you get to hold on to it.
Awesome. Sure. Just thanks to you for putting this whole thing together. Without you and the rest of the community and Chi-Chi, what you did, thanks for your extra help on our tree. Every time we came out, we're like, we think it looks good, and then Jeannie says, you need more, so... no, in all sense, it took everybody here, and it was a really cool event. I like, the tree thing that we did here. It was just so much better being there. I think with the community being able to come through and everything, it was awesome. So the whole thing was great. The holiday season with the ice skating rink, I think it all just came together. It was a really good year, and we appreciate it. And like I said, it's all in good fun. So you can put recliners all over your firemen sitting in recliners or something on your tree. So, all right.
Thanks, Chief. Appreciate it.
get a group picture.
Okay.
So everybody, all the Chi-Chi, can you come back up here and Miss McCabe, yes. What was the Schaefer School? Perfect. I want to make sure I say the right school. I don't want to get shot. Okay, so Pastor, you and your family. I want your family up here too. Everybody that helped with this, and then Jeannie Knight. You were awesome. You guys don't know what she did, but the first ever city, well, not first ever because I'm too young to say that, but in my lifetime, the first ever Christmas tree at Bloss Mansion, Jeannie Knight bought and decorated that with her and her friends. Absolutely gorgeous. It's, how tall is that tree, Lori? 12 feet? It's 14 feet tall, Corey? 14 feet tall. So up on a big old ladder. They decorated, they anchored it down, and then we had the biggest windstorm of the season the night she got it done, and it blew over. So, and then she went and bought all new decorations and fixed what was broken and everything else, and it did it again. Twice, 3 times. So, and nobody noticed that there was any damage to the tree, but it got beat up pretty good, and it looked brand new every time she got done with it. What dedication, Jeannie Knight. We love you for what you did, and this community loves you for what you did, because I saw so many families taking pictures behind that tree and in front of the tree and around the tree that was very special what you did. So I want to get some pictures, Janelle, with everybody up here. Roger, you get up here. Yeah, you did. You put the lights up. Come on, Roger. Bring the balloons, too. We should have had Casey get over here, too, but it was all about Chi-Chi tonight. All right, Case. So Casey's going to be standing right behind you, Roger. All right, Miss Creighton, move up here a little bit. And then we're going to take a picture on 3. 1, 2. Perfect. I know, Jeannie, can you come up here, Jeannie, for one picture? Get up here. Come on. Come right up here, right front and center, right here. Right here next to the fireman. There you go. She's got the skills. Okay, you guys ready? Perfect. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Atwater residents, and thank you. Wonderful job, everyone. And I'll let Pastor Miller finish it up.
Just wanted to say thank you real quick to Miss Waterman and Miss Janelle Martin for their help as well as the Planning Commission and all their help. Once again, it was completely the people of the city getting together, and we expect it to be, once again, better this year. I was going to say next year, but we're already in next year. So thank you once again, Miss Waterman and Miss Janelle, for all your help.
Thanks, Pat. Okay, we're going to take a quick break there, let everybody get their gear and whatever else. And if you want to take pictures or say hi to anybody, we're going to take a 5-minute intermission and then come back to the agenda. Call this meeting back to order. Presentations. Monthly report by Merced County District 3 Supervisor McDaniel. Welcome.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. I just wanted to update you on something that happened pretty big. You might have saw it in the paper. It hit nationwide media, but the Merced County Board of Supervisors approved an agreement with Patriot Rail on February 8th of 2022 to establish a rail district at Castle Commerce Center, making the site a focal point for movement of freight by rail and future economic development. The rail district located near the southeast corner of Castle will enhance the ability of agricultural producers, manufacturers, and other enterprises throughout the San Joaquin Valley to ship and receive products via the Burlington Northern Santa Fe Railroad main line, which runs adjacent to the site. There's already currently 4 customers with Burlington Northern, but Patriot will take over them. Plus, we have many more. And Patriot does bring folks who are already looking to ship goods out. It will hook on with the Atwater Merced Expressway, which will connect from 99 to Bellevue on the northeast side. And we're currently working, it'll be a truck entrance going in on the northeast side that'll come off the Atwater Merced Expressway, so it doesn't create more traffic on Santa Fe Rail. Also want to touch, Raul Mendez started today, was his official day as our CEO at Merced County. He came and introduced himself to you guys last month when I was giving my update. What's that? Yes, that's right. And I just want to remind everybody, the 4th Thursday of each month from 1:30 to 3:30 at the Civic Center, I have my mobile district hours. So Assemblymember Gray's office is wanting to participate again since COVID, since the governor's recent orders. I don't have the address to the... Yes. And Congressman Costa's staff has been there the last 2 times with me, so they'll be there as well. So you'll have, if you have a federal issue, if you have a state issue, if you have a county issue, we're all there. And sometimes the mayor will pop in and Councilman Raymond pops in.
If there's
every now and
food.
then. What's that?
If there's food.
If they, yeah. So with that, I'll go ahead and entertain any questions.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next we have Jeannie Knight. No, okay. Goodbye. Thank you for all your help. Thank you, Supervisor McDaniel. Thank you. Consent calendar.
Background information has been provided on all matters listed under the consent calendar, and these items are considered to be routine. All items under the consent calendar are normally approved by one motion. If discussion is requested on any item, that item will be removed from the consent calendar for separate action.
Okay, I'm going to open the public comment up now. While it's open, are there any members of the public on Zoom that are currently using the raised hand feature?
No, Mayor, there are not.
Are there any members of the public inside the chambers who'd like to speak on this item? Are there any items on the consent calendar the council would like to remove for separate discussion or possible action?
Yes.
What would
I
that
would
be?
like to pull 9 and 10.
Items 9 and 10 by Councilman Kale. Any other councilman want to pull any other items? Hearing none, direction on the consent calendar with items 9 and 10 being pulled.
I move to approve the consent calendar as amended.
I'll second.
I'll second.
Okay, motion by Kale, second by Ambries. Beat Button by 0.3 of a second.
Button,
Yes.
Kale,
Yes.
Ambries,
Yes.
Raymond,
Yes.
Creighton.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay. Agreements. Item 9, awarding professional services agreement to Pinnacle Healthcare Occupational Services Deputy City Manager Del Rio.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor and City Council. Items 9 and 10 bring forth 2 professional services agreements for occupational health services. The city issued an RFP this last October and received 2 responses, one from Romeo Medical Clinic of Turlock and one from Pinnacle Healthcare of Los Banos. Both proposals are responsive. Tonight, staff is recommending the City Council award the PSAs, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Councilman Kale.
So we sent RMPs out to everybody in the community in and around Merced. So now our employees are going to have to go to Turlock and Los Vegas to receive services.
Correct.
So people like Castle Family Health Centers, Golden Valley, Atwater Medical Group,
MFA.
Merced Medical Group too, right? And here in town,
Right.
did not or cared not to take care of our people.
They did not respond to the request for proposals, and my staff reached out to them, and they do not treat they don't provide occupational services.
And what a shame. I really, really feel this is disgusting that they're out there collecting COVID money like crazy and do not want to take care of our city employees. And I challenge any of those people to come and talk to me about it. Trust me, I've made calls today and I said, how come you guys didn't do this? And I got a similar response to you guys that you received. So I just wanted to make sure that everybody in town knows that what these people are not doing to support their community. And they should. Thank you. That's all I have.
Okay, council direction on, okay, we're gonna open this up for public comment. Hold on one second, so I don't miss any legal ease here. Open up to public comment now while it's open. Are there any members of the public on the Zoom feature that currently has a raised hand?
No, Mayor, there is not.
Are there any members of the public inside the chambers that would like to come forward on this topic? This item. Are there any members of the council have any comments on these items? Raymond, can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
So, again, any members of the public raise hand feature?
No, Mayor.
No members of the public in the auditorium like to come forward on this item? We'll close public comment and look for direction from council. And this is for item 9, and then 10 will basically do the same thing again since I didn't queue them both up at the same time. Or can we do both at the same time? They were treated the same. Okay, so we're going to do items, Raymond, we're going to do items 9 and 10, and council, that'll be items 9 and 10 together. Direction.
Mayor, I motion to approve items 9 and 10. Staff recommendation.
A second.
Motion by Raymond, second by Ambrose.
Raymond?
Yes.
Button?
Yes.
Kale?
No.
Ambrose?
Yes.
Creighton?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Public hearings, item 17, consideration of revised city council district electoral boundaries as required by Elections Code Section 21601. City Attorney Splendario.
Yes, good evening.
Florio, I'm sorry.
That's okay. Good evening, Mayor, City Council. This is the second hearing to receive public comment and more information regarding the redistricting process.
Do we have a PowerPoint for that?
We do. While Janelle gets it set up, and we have Henry Castillo from our office that will be doing this presentation.
Wonderful.
Hi, good evening, Mayor and City Council. I'm just waiting for the PowerPoint presentation to come up, and then I'll go ahead and begin.
Welcome.
So this is the second public hearing of a required 4 public hearings. This presentation is pretty much going to be the same presentation that we had at public hearing number 1. I'm going to discuss project timelines, key deadlines, next steps, and hearings, and hopefully obtain some feedback from the council or the public on identifying communities of interest and communities that should stay together while we work through this redistricting process. So as you know, council members hold 4-year terms. District elections happened in 2017. The district transitioned into district elections. You guys have 5 districts with 1 at-large mayor. So districts 3 and 4 will be elected in 2022, and districts 1 and 2 will be elected in 2024, with the mayor up for election this year as well. So the elections that happened this November 2022 will be under the new maps that we are currently drafting. There's 3 sets of rules that govern the redistricting process. One is under federal law, which looks at equal population, looks at the Federal Voting Rights Act, and also provides that there should be no racial gerrymandering. The California criteria, I'll discuss more in length in the upcoming slides. And other traditional principles is minimizing voters shifted to different election years. So if you were gonna vote for your representative in 2022, we would want to minimize the amount of voters that we shift to voting in 2024, because then that would give them, I believe, 8 years in between the elections, which we wouldn't want to do, or at least minimize that as much as possible. So these are the existing maps. As you see, District 1 and 2 on the north side, and 3 and 4 on the bottom of the page are up for election in 2022. The next slide shows some of the hard numbers. The total population of the city is 31,000. And right now, the raw data provides that if you see, it seems like district number 3 is the smallest one with 7,413. And district number 4 is the biggest one with 8,329. I believe with the current maps, there's a deviation of close to 12%. So we're going to work on bringing that deviation down with the maps we present at the 3rd public hearing. So the prominent considerations are equal population, increasing the racial minority voice, or actually giving them an ability to vote for some other candidates of preference. Geographically contiguous districts, which is a requirement under the California Voting Rights Act, and also that everything be measured objectively. A community of interest. We look at physical boundaries, and that includes natural or artificial barriers, roadways, rivers, railways, parks, schools, or any other landmarks that brings a community together. So that's what that's what a community of interest is, and there's a lot of different things that make up what a community of interest is, and this is why we do the 4 public hearings, for the public and the council to go ahead and provide us some guidance while we're drafting these maps on keeping these communities together. So some of the other considerations are political boundaries. So school attendance areas, special district service areas, and any federal, state, or county divisions are also considered communities of interest. So what is not a community of interest is an incumbent's residence or any political affiliation. So we can't look at the Republican registered voters or Democratic registered voters and then try to cut districts out that way. That's definitely not a community of interest. So some of the feedback we want to gather today from the public or the council is what is your neighborhood and what are its boundaries? What are other notable areas in the city, and what are their boundaries? And also inform the public on how they can participate in this process. So the sources of information that we gather when redistricting and drafting these maps is demographic data, working with staff and their expertise representing the community, public input, and of course council input as well. So today is the 2nd public hearing. We would love to get some council and public input and identify some communities that you feel strongly should remain together. Public hearing number 3 will have draft maps for you, and then receive some of your feedback, and hopefully select the preferred map. So this would be your first meeting in March, which is March 14th. And then on March 28th, we're hoping to approve the final maps and introduce ordinance finalizing your decision. And then by April 17th is the deadline to submit the maps to the Register of Voters. And that concludes my presentation. Is there any questions or public input or anything?
Henry, I'm going to open it up to the public comment at this time, and then we'll take council comments after I close the public comment. Janelle,
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Henry. Do we have any raised hand features with Zoom?
No, Mayor, we do not.
Are there any members of the public here in the chambers that would like to come forward and speak on this item? Council, we'll come back to you on this. Again, any raised hand features?
No, Mayor, there is not.
Any members of the public in the chambers? Seeing none, we'll close the public comment, bring it back to the council for comments. And I had a couple real quick. So, Henry, on this, looking at the data that you guys provided and went through, we look pretty equal across the whole entire city. How's the map going to change in the future? Is it going to be very difficult, or is it something pretty easily done with those numbers you showed in that slide? Showed we're pretty much mixed up across the town evenly.
Yes, Mayor. So one of the issues is that the deviation. If we could pull up the slide again so we could see the numbers, and I could address it that way. So there's been some shift, and those shift has deviated the maps where it's at 12%. So what we're hoping to do is get it under the legally acceptable 10% range. So we're just working really with a 2% deviation that we want to get under the 10%, and then it shouldn't be too difficult.
Okay, so that looks pretty. That's a pretty good mix there. That's probably what makes this community special as opposed to some of the other communities around here that it's very diverse across the whole entire boundaries. Then you're still trying to achieve the east-west, north-south grid the best you can with the demographics we have, correct?
Correct. That's what we're trying to do. So I'm hoping at the next meeting, we'll have some draft maps for the council to go ahead and take a look at. And then if there's any separation or any communities that you identify that we that we divide or cut or anything like that, we would want that feedback to go ahead and redraw those maps and then provide a final map on the final public hearing. That's public hearing number 4.
Okay, council?
I just have a question on the same piece. What is the ideal population? Can you give me a definition of that?
So there isn't an ideal population, but what California law requires is that we keep communities of interest together. So just an easy way to identify community of interest. The example I like to use, if there's a high school where everybody in that community kind of rallies around and kind of brings the community together and they have shared values, we would want to keep them together. We wouldn't want to separate like that high school or that attendance community into 2 separate districts if possible. And that's just because we, under California law, it would feel like that community would be best represented by a council member that understands that area and is able to represent that area the best.
And Henry, if I may, could you also just explain, I think do you actually have the word ideal population 7,871 on that PowerPoint slide that also at the bottom. I think is that just the ideal deviation limit or?
Yeah, so that's just the ideal population number. So that's kind of like the average of residents that we would have. But of course, that it would be slightly higher or slightly lower. The only thing we're trying to do is keep that deviation under 10%.
Great, thank you.
Wonderful. Raymond, you have any questions?
I do not at this time.
Okay, seeing none from council. Thank you, Henry.
No problem. Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Council.
Item 18, adopting resolution amending fiscal year 21-22 miscellaneous fee schedule. Finance Director Mara.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Today, staff is recommending a few amendments to the miscellaneous fee schedule. There's about three of them. So the new ones are underlined, and the ones that we'd like to remove are crossed out. So the first one is in the miscellaneous section. It's the electronic payment processing fees. The current verbiage says 5% of the total amount, and staff is recommending to change the verbiage to read up to 5%. This will allow us to cover our costs as accurate as possible, since we are using different vendors that charge different rates.
Okay.
The second one is under the planning division section. So the current miscellaneous fee schedule has a generic CUP fee. That is the conditional use permit fee, and staff is recommending to get more detailed with that and have 3 distinct fees. So one of them would be a ministerial CUP fee, a minor CUP fee, and then a regular CUP fee. And this will also help the city more accurately recover its costs. The final recommendation is under the police section, and that's just adding the abandoned cart fee to the schedule to add $50 per cart per pickup, and that is consistent with the current city code.
So everybody knows what we're talking about, shopping carts, because they're everywhere.
Yeah, so that one's just an addition, but it's consistent with the code. It's just to make it on the miscellaneous fee schedule.
Okay. So at this time, I'm going to open up the public hearing. Are there any members with the raise hand feature?
No, Mayor, there is not.
Any members in the public like to come forward at this time on this item? Raise hand feature?
No, Mayor, there is not.
Anybody in the auditorium like to come forward at this time? Seeing none, we'll close the public comment. Bring it back to the council for discussion or direction. Any comments, council? Direction?
So the cart fee,
Councilman Button?
yeah.
Go ahead.
So the cart fee is $50 to the store, correct?
I believe that is correct.
Chief, you want to?
Yep, that is correct.
Okay. And that's what's typical in this area is $50. Or is that just what the minimum?
I believe it was state. It was a state requirement. The chief will explain better.
Okay.
We're going to have Chief Salvador come to the microphone.
That's by statute.
Okay.
Yeah, we can't charge any more than $50.
Okay. Okay.
But you can do it for every single cart,
We can do it for every single cart, though.
Okay.
every single day.
Every pickup.
Every pickup.
And this
So
helps.
the code enforcement is going to get a pickup truck to pick them up now? hopefully?
No.
We'll buy one for 'em.
We have a
So-
program. We've engaged our stores. After 3 or 4 code enforcement fines for blight and stuff, they came to the bargaining table. So we're putting together a program. Dan's in charge of it. We're going to be photographing carts in their places, sending them the locations so they can go pick it up versus taking our employees and taking them out of service to go pick them up.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So, Chief, hang on just a second. So, you send them a picture saying the cart's located at 3rd and Juniper.
Yes.
Do we charge them that $50 fee for that at that point? Okay, if they don't pick it up in a timely manner?
They've got 72 hours from the time we send them the photo to the time they pick them up.
So if there was a young man out there with a pickup truck and a good sense of business, he could run around pickup trucks.
He'd score.
He'd score big time.
He'd score. It would be one of the fastest growing businesses in Atwater.
I truly agree with that. Good. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
A 18-foot flatbed trailer and a small pickup truck. Yeah, he'd make bank.
The store managers used to do it back not too long ago, not too many managers ago. It was not tolerated, but that's okay. We're doing great.
Right.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
And great question on the fees. Any other council members have any other questions? Hearing none, direction?
I'll make a motion that we approve resolution number 3294-22, amending the City of Atwater's miscellaneous fee schedule for fiscal year 2021-2022.
I'll second.
Motion by Kale, second by Button.
Ambrose,
Yes.
Button,
Yes.
Raymond,
Yes.
Kale,
Yes.
Creighton.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Reports and presentations from staff. Item 19, approving budget amendment regarding revenue and expenditure adjustments based on mid-year analysis and adopting salary schedule C-22 effective March 3rd, 2022. City Manager Waterman and Finance Director Yumara. Yumara, right?
Umara, yep.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. I'm going to let our Finance Director take the lead. She's got a PowerPoint for you tonight, and I'll jump in and assist whenever there's any questions or I can assist with.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor and Council. The item I'll be presenting for Council tonight is the review of our fiscal year 2022 budget at mid-year. Now that we are more than halfway through fiscal year 21-22, we have a more accurate view of what we expect to receive in revenues and what we plan to expend for the remaining of the year. Based on this mid-year review, staff has also recommended budget amendments for Council's consideration. So first, we're going to review the general fund in detail and discuss the unaudited fund balance, what the beginning fund balance is, and take a look at where we stand right now, pre-mid-year amendments, and then we'll add those mid-year amendments to it and review the final fund balance for the general fund, and review the impact it has on the fund balance for other funds. So in order to find out where our beginning fund balance is, we need to take a look at last fiscal year 21-22. This is the general fund, so it's all our general fund purpose activities are paid out of this fund. So police, fire, recreation, parks, admin, planning, community development, and other general services. So we started, the beginning fund balance of last fiscal year was $2,871,000, and that was an audited number, but the rest of the numbers are going to be unaudited since we are still working on our audit for previous fiscal year. So in the last fiscal year, we received revenue of $18,905,000, and I did want to point out that $2 million of that revenue was from sale of real property, so it was a one-time revenue. We expended $15,190,000 in expenditures, and we had some prepaids that we paid by June 30th of $28,196. So when we take our beginning fund balance and add all the money we received and less the expenditures and any items paid in advance, we get an unaudited fund balance of $6,558,740. So although these numbers are unaudited, this is a very healthy end to fiscal year 2021, and it shows the extreme positive progress the City of Atwater and the City Council has achieved through their prudent fiscal planning. So we did want to take a moment and pause here and congratulate everyone who has been involved with this, because compared to where the city was the last 3 years, this is an amazing way to end fiscal year 2021. Next slide, please. So those numbers, as I mentioned, were unaudited. We do plan to come to council at the end of March for presentation and acceptance of our previous fiscal year financials. But I do want to note that at the time the fiscal year 21-22 budget was adopted, we were projecting a fund balance of $2,665,000. But as you saw, it looks like we're going to be having a beginning fund balance of $6,550,000. Almost $59,000. And this is due to several factors. We did receive more revenue than what was budgeted. We received our sales tax revenues did extremely well despite the pandemic. We also had that sale that I mentioned of various properties, about $2.16 million, which boost our general fund. And in addition, departments were not spending all of their approved appropriations. So all these factors took into place in fiscal year 2021 is what truly contributed to starting this current fiscal year with a healthy fund balance. And so now that we know where we're starting this fiscal year, we're going to take a look at what our budget looks as of right now prior to the mid-year amendments. So we had budgeted $16.97 million in revenue, and budgeted 17.5 million in expenditures. So knowing at the time that we were going to have a positive fund balance, we did budget for that deficit of 530,000. When we decrease that from our unaudited fund balance, beginning balance, we get an estimated 6,028,740 ending fund balance where we stand today. So pre-approval of the mid-year amendments. And this slide is a overview of the general fund amendments, basically the net effect. So staff is recommending some increases and decreases to revenue now that we have more accurate data. The half of the year has gone by, we know what we're receiving, and we have a better view of what we plan to receive. But ultimately, all those net to an increase to the revenue of the general fund of about 1,483,746. So the increase is largely due to our sales tax revenues. Because of the data we've received to date, we are able to budget more accurately. Our expenditures, so staff is recommending some increases and decreases in expenditures, but ultimately the net of all the general fund recommendations is a decrease in expenditures of 302,835. This decrease is largely due to the public safety transaction and use tax being able to absorb more of the CAL FIRE contract because we are expecting to receive those sales tax revenue. So ultimately, when we take our revenue, so our increase in revenue and a decrease in expenditures is actually an increase to fund balance. So we add those two to get our net impact to the general fund with these mid-year budget amendments. It's an increase of 1,786,581.
For a grand total of?
So for a grand total, so on this next page, we're going to take a look at the fund balance at the beginning as we projected is that 6,032,615. That's what we're starting the fiscal year 22 at. And our mid-year proposals are actually a net increase of 1,786,000. That gives us a projected general fund balance after mid-year budgets are approved of 7,819,196.
Almost $8 million.
Almost $8 million.
We were upside down that just a few years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Great job.
It is amazing. And another great news is that council's goals, and actually the strategic plan, I believe, was a 10% general fund reserve was the original goal. But at mid-year, at budget for fiscal year 21-22, the council had decided to increase it 12%. We tried to do as much as we can, best as we can. And with that 12%, if we reserve of 2,063,506, City of Atwater is over our general fund reserve goal of 5,755,690.
Wonderful.
And that was the summary of the general fund and what effect mid-year had to the general fund. If you have any questions of just general fund, I'd be able to answer any.
Okay, we didn't do public comment. Did we? Okay, I'm gonna open it up to public comment at this time. Are there any members on the Zoom with a raise hand feature?
No, Mayor, there is not.
Are there any members of the public like to come forward at this time for this item in the council chambers? Are there any raised hand features at this time?
No, Mayor, there is not.
Any members of the council chambers come forward with comments on this item? Seeing none, we'll close the public comment. Bring it back to council for comments. Councilman Kale.
I just want to say, I appreciate all the departments, to quote you, the departments not spending all their approved budget appropriations. So thank you guys for tightening those out and doing that, as I read it, to a sum of 300,000. Great job with us from our staff in doing exactly that.
Councilman Raymond, you have any comments?
Yeah, I do, Mayor. Lots of naysayers out there have said this couldn't be done, the city couldn't get out of the black hole, and with this council, all we're going to do is drive it into the ground. And it's done the opposite. We're bringing it up, and collectively with the council and staff being cognizant of financial challenges and saving their funds, we've been able to turn the ship around, and we're steering away from the iceberg, and we're doing better than we thought we would. So just congratulations to everybody, and thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Raymond. Councilman Button, you have any comments?
Nope.
Councilman Hamburg, any comments?
No comments.
I got a bunch of comments, about an hour's worth, but I'm going to shorten it to maybe 10 minutes. This is really exciting. You know, there's a lot of things that people get to do in their life and challenges they take. I think Raymond was being pretty modest, and the rest of the council is being really modest. It takes, first off, it takes a vision. It takes people to execute the vision. We could come up with all the ideas we want up here on the council as long as we have good staff in place, employees that can handle the task at hand. The mountain we had to climb, the battle we had to fight on this, the hundreds of thousands of pages of documents that we provided to the state auditor, the thousands and thousands and thousands of hours we all worked on this to get a clear, true picture of where our financial problems were, what caused those, how to correct those. We did things that the state auditor was really impressed that they were asking other cities to do because we were innovative here in the city of Atwater. We don't ever want to go through this again is what the passion was to right the ship that was sinking. The Titanic hit the iceberg and, you know, we sailed along and we were able to patch it, pump the water out and get it back sailing, and now it's the starship of the ocean. It's the prize liner. And the relationship we built with the state auditor, the relationship we built with the residents, the relationship we built with people that we're accountable to has paid off. Our sales tax are through the roof, I'll say. We projected a 20% shortfall during COVID-19. We discussed what we're going to do, how we were going to cut, the departments that would be cut. We were ready for catastrophe, but we were ready. And we executed that, and we did a lot of smart things. The residents did a lot of great things. They spent all their money in their town. They kept the money here. Just wonderful. And again, circle back, staff. I'm hard on staff all the time. I think you hear the comment, you guys get paid professional wages to do what you do, but we've got professional players on our team now. So it's really inspiring to see people that are professional coming in and helping us do these things, and projects that are coming into town. We're getting a lot of money's coming in because of development. Quite honestly, if we didn't have all this development going on, our tax money wouldn't be there. People are getting what they want. They're going out shopping. Our police department's looking good out there. Our fire department's looking good. Our community development director and where's so many departments? We'll call it public works, planning, building, all that stuff. The complaints are gone. It used to be a quagmire when you walk in over there. So now it's easier for developers to come in and spend money and get projects up off the ground. We did record-breaking stuff during the pandemic. We're still in the pandemic as far as California goes. So I'll be quiet because it's emotionally awesome. So proud of what you guys have done, what we've done, and I'm excited for the residents that we're on the right track and for years to come, looks like. So yes, and we're very this council is very adamant about that we don't go into debt to pay for things that we need. We program what we need. We're replacing vehicles and assets, and we're moving into this year, hopefully this year, 2 buildings downtown to bring City Hall back to downtown, the admin building and the City Hall utility bills and planning and engineering and all that, which will give a presence to the core of downtown, which every community you go to, City Hall's downtown. And it's going to be a wonderful thing to have that down there and debt-free on that. So really, really, really proud of what's going on. Did you have the button lit up? No, I didn't. Okay. So with that, thank you very much, and looking for direction from council.
I actually still have some more fund. Okay. So that was general fund.
Okay. Wow.
Yes.
Okay. So that's the big emotional one because all the other funds, other funds are restricted funds, you guys. So it's pretty hard to mess those funds up. This was the big one. So sorry, I got a little excited there.
No, thank you. So the next fund is still part of the general fund. It's the general fund capital. I'm just going to go over here the net effect it had on fund balance. So the detail is outlined in the staff report, but please feel free to stop me if you want to go into further detail on the fund. So the general fund capital is going to have a net increase in the fund balance, and that's mostly due to the highway safety improvement program. We need to decrease the expenditure there because there was a duplication in the carryover of encumbrance. When we did the CIP carryover, it ended up getting duplicated, so that would be a correction on the budget. The public safety transaction and use tax is going to have a net decrease of $443,839, and that's due to the increase in sales tax revenue, so the fund is able to absorb more of the CAL FIRE contract. The Measure V fund and the Measure V alternative modes fund are both getting an increase to the fund balance, and that's due to increasing the transportation sales tax revenue. Again, now that we have more accurate information, half of the year has gone through, we are able to budget a little more because that is what is expected. So Measure V is getting an increase of $67,000, and Measure V alternative modes is getting an increase of $42,425. The abandoned vehicle abatement fund is going to result in a net increase to the fund balance of $9,269. That is largely due to a transfer in from the general fund to cover the variance between revenue and expenditures. The ARPA fund is going to have a net zero change to the fund balance. The reason for that is when we went to council and we got the ARPA funds approved, we budgeted a portion to park improvements. Now we are decreasing that portion and increasing the expense to we're identifying 2 actual park improvement projects. So net is 0, but the 2 projects are the Memorial Ballpark parking lot and the Osborne Park renovation. The gas tax fund is going to result in a net decrease of $6,905, and that's largely due to staff having to increase the utility expenditures because utility rates have increased and the cost has gone up. Traffic circulation fund will result in a net increase of $110,825, and that is due to us receiving a larger volume of building permits issued subject to the traffic circulation fees than what was originally budgeted. So that's an increase to revenues. This next fund is all regarding the Buhack Colony High School Fund. Since the project is complete, we are dispersing those funds that are held in the Buhack Colony High School Fund of $231,023. So that fund balance will eventually ideally be 0, and we are going to allocate those funds to the appropriate impact fee. So they're listed below: the police facility impact fees, the fire facility impact fees, water capital impact fee, and sewer capital replacement fund. So those funds are going to get an increase to fund balance because we're taking it out of the Buhack Colony High School Fund, and we're appropriating them as outlined in the funding agreement. The housing rehab RLA and the home grant funds are both going to have an increase to the fund balance. We are increasing the revenue of those accounts, one by $17,110 and the other one by almost $80,000. These funds are difficult to project the revenue because they are 0 interest loans, so we cannot predict when a payment is received or when a loan will be paid off. So as funds are received or as we're notified or we know of the funds, we do want to budget them. The redevelopment obligation retirement fund is going to have a net increase of almost $94,000, and that's for a transfer from the successor agency debt service to accurately reflect the amount on the adopted ROPS. Our assessment district fund is going to have an increase to the fund balance of $11,775, and that is because we are going to increase a transfer from the general fund to offset the undercharged amount in the adopted engineer's report for fiscal year 21-22. Our community facilities district fund is going to have an increase in fund balance of about $3,000, and that's due to the approved ARPA funding we're repaying that fund for essential workers we paid to essential workers. Our water enterprise fund is going to have a decrease in the fund balance of $93,070, and that's largely due to an increase in utility expense on the TCP well sites. The sewer enterprise and sanitation enterprise are both going to have an increase in fund balance by the amount proposed and listed, and that is due to ARPA reimbursing those funds for the essential pay or essential workers premium pay. The internal service building and equipment maintenance is going to have a net decrease of $865 to the fund balance. Staff is recommending some increases in revenue and some increases in expenditures, but ultimately the net is a slight decrease of $865. The employee benefits fund and the information technology fund are both going to have an increase to the fund balance of what's listed there. They're both being reimbursed. The ARPA is reimbursing both of the funds for essential workers premium pay. And for information technology, there's an additional reimbursement of the Zoom-related expenses that we incurred due to COVID. And then also, in addition to the mid-year budget amendment, staff is also recommending the adoption of the salary schedule. Based on our analysis, the remaining available budget will be able to absorb the changes in the salary schedule, so you did not see a budget amendment for that. And please let me know if you have any questions.
I'm going to open it back up to public comment. Are there any members with the raise hand feature on Zoom?
No, Mayor, there is not.
Any members of the public in the auditorium like to come forward this time? And bring it back to Zoom. Any raise hand features?
No, Mayor.
Anybody in the auditorium? Seeing none, we'll close the public comment and bring it back to council for comments or directions. Councilman Kale?
So the Water Enterprise Fund, is there kind of a plan or any kind of on how we're gonna maybe work on that as far as, you know, the price of that? Because that's obviously higher than what we've had before, right? And I know that's in part due to the well sites.
So, do you know what he's talking about? Okay.
So as we discussed, Councilmember Button, this is the first year that we have the TCP well sites up and running, and we're going to be looking and doing an analysis of what the cost will be and look at other modes. Some of them will be possibly transferred from PG&E to MID power, as well as solar, to offset some of those costs. And we'll keep council updated on the analysis of that as we go.
Thank you.
Ambrose? Raymond, you have any questions?
I do not.
Direction?
I'll motion to approve, motion to adopt resolution number 3293-22 approving budget amendment. Number 23, amending the.
Just for clarification, I think our attorney will do this. You can either motion staff's recommendation or otherwise read the whole recommendation.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Okay. I'll just motion to approve staff's recommendation.
That's pretty cool.
It's faster.
Second.
Motion by Button, second by Raymond.
Kale?
Yes.
Button?
Yes.
Ambrose?
Yes.
Raymond?
Yes.
Creighton?
Yes.
Motion passes.
City manager reports and updates. Item 20, monthly report by City Manager Waterman.
Thank you, Mayor. I don't have a report tonight, but I do want to take this opportunity to congratulate the council as well as our staff and the community on a successful mid-year review, and this is thanks to all the hard work that everybody's put into this and something that everybody can be proud of, so thank you.
Thank you. Comments from the public?
At this time, any person may comment on any item which is not on the agenda. You may state your name and address for the record, however, it is not required. Action will not be taken on an item that is not on the agenda. If it requires action, it will be referred to staff and are placed on a future agenda. Please limit comments to a maximum of 3 minutes.
Are there any members on Zoom with the raise hand feature?
No, Mayor, there is not.
Are there any members of the public who would like to come forward at this time to speak? Please come to the podium, say your name. Seeing none there. Any raise hand features?
No, Mayor, there is not.
Are there any members in the auditorium who would like to come forward and just say anything? Okay, seeing none, we'll close that. Council matters. Councilman Kale.
I have a couple here. So April 16th, in the city of Atwater at Memorial Baseball Park, the Castle Veterans Organization and the Atwater Winton Lions Club is holding a 1880s all-star baseball game where the players and umpires are all going to be dressed up and playing 1880s rules baseball. So please come out and enjoy that. Enjoy some hot dogs. There will be peanuts and Cracker Jacks. And I'm sure we're all going to sing Take Me Out to the Ball Game on the 7th inning. I want to say, Delilah, you guys did a great job. You and Patty and the rest of the staff did an awesome job on our budget for the first half. Thank you for that. Thank the council for standing the ground and doing what they believe is right in the last 3 years and making Atwater a black city among some of our surrounding cities that are digging in red mud right now. Pastor Miller, thank you guys in your group for making Atwater an awesome place to celebrate the birth of Jesus Christ and providing a great, wholesome family thing for Christmas event. Thank you for presenting, not necessarily the mayor, but all the other groups for their trophies. That is just, it shows you how special it is that we live in this place. Councilman Andrews and I met a little over a week ago, and we decided that we wanted to get together and get a community of leaders and spruce up some of our Atwater landmarks for the centennial. So we're getting the religious community together, service clubs, resto clubs, city staff, and any volunteer that wants to get together. And we're gonna take a look at what needs to be fixed, prioritize those things, and get them fixed so that after April 1, we'll have a very beautiful looking city to celebrate our centennial. And then the last thing I would like to do is I would like to congratulate the Atwater Elementary School School Board District on breaking ground for the new Juniper Elementary School. I noticed yesterday when I drove by there, they have a whole bunch of construction groundbreaking tools out there to start doing that. So congratulations to those guys. We're excited to have that school up and going for our children. That's all I have. Thanks.
Councilman Ambrose.
I believe Councilman Kell said everything I needed to say. So thank you, staff, for the presentations this evening. Looks like everyone's doing an awesome job. And I also want to thank staff for the meetings that we've had last week, especially Greg Thompson and Mark Prada. I was thinking the last name, sorry. Thank you guys for scheduling the time for not only myself, but one of our business owners as well. So thank you guys for that. Nothing else.
Councilman Raymond.
Yes, Mayor, mine's just real quick. I pulled my son out of school because of a lot of the stuff going on, but I just want to congratulate all the kids that are going to finally be free of this tyrannical mask mandate in school as of March 12th. So it's about time they can get back to learning without worrying about whether they have a mask or not or vaccinated or not. They'll get back to just learning and doing their best.
Free to live. Councilman Button.
Yeah, thanks staff for, meeting with me and giving such a professional presentation for the mid-year budget review. I really appreciate that and the work you guys put in. I know it's a lot of work and thank you to the fellow council members up here and staff to, really take into consideration the people's, this is the people's money and, they entrust us to do what's best with it and be respectful with how we spend it, and it's a great accomplishment, and it's positive progress, right?
Right.
So let's keep it going. Hey, let's keep going. There's great things ahead for Atwater, and and I know the presentation that Pastor Miller had up here was fantastic, and there doesn't really need to be much more said, but I wish it could be Christmas year round in Atwater. I mean, Christmas this year was awesome. It was a great time. The skating rink, everything. It was, going to that event. It was literally, it literally was a community coming together. And I know that's kind of it's kind of cliche, but it was the community coming together during that event, and I was very proud to live in Atwater. I think that was one thing that I really pulled from that was, I was like, I'm proud to live here, and so I think that's when you have people that are doing things like that in the community that make people feel proud to live here. I think that's when they've done something right. And that goes for, staff up here and everybody else. So, that's all I got. And also, Councilmember Kale, I agree with you. I think, with the local clinics not working with our city, it's just tragic. It's unfortunate. So that's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you very much. I've got a few things. April 9th will be, we're getting out a month ahead because tomorrow's March, but April 9th will be our Easter egg hunt. Over 5,000 eggs will be given out. Corey, what's the location of this year's Easter egg hunt? Veterans Park again. What time? Okay, it'll roughly start at 9 a.m. We'll have more details on that, but put that on your calendar, community. April 9th, our annual Easter egg hunt, and your council will be out there if they can make it, and we look forward to seeing all the kids running a million different directions. It'll be a little bit different this year. We're getting better at it. Had a couple of years to practice and get things set up. Tomorrow, March 1st, is Mardi Gras, so all you sinners, go out there and sin away, and Ash Wednesday, you guys better knock it off. So you get one day to go party. It's a great celebration, and celebrating the Lord and doing what's right. I'm making light of it, but it is very important that as a community and people that they reach out to their whatever religion they're doing and reflect on that. It's a time to reflect. So be grateful for what we have in the world. As we heard tonight, and we all see on TV what's going on in Ukraine, it's terrifying that you have crazy leaders in the world that want to attack other nations. Be grateful that it's not happening here. Support those that are in need the best you can, whatever way you can. Reach out to them, get them the supplies they need to be strong and fight these people off. And also, with Ash Wednesday, make sure you guys follow through on what you commit to, not only during Lent or any time of the year, but all the time, to make your community and yourself and your family better and your neighbors better. So also then with the skating rink, the Bloss Mansion Christmas program, the lighting downtown, and then the NBC award of the greatest light show in America with one of our residents. This is a really becoming a hallmark little city, and you are what you perceive and you are what you project. So I think the community's projecting that they want to be much better, and they're being perceived that way. And great for everybody in Atwater, and we welcome everybody from around the world to come to the happiest little city in the world. So with that, meeting adjourned.